Ross, Richy Rich, what's good with you guys, man?
What's good, man? It's another week.
Yeah.
Week 11, we're gonna be discussing. Who's hot. These games, man. That's about to happen. Week 11. It was a crazy week last week. You boys then came up on me, but we're gonna see who gonna get it this week.
You only saying it's a crazy week when it's a week that you lose, or you say it's wild. That's your terminology every time you're in a losing situation. You'll say crazy and wild. You just the last few weeks you just been garbage. Let's just call it what it is, man.
I haven't been on my game. I agree, but we're gonna see what happens this week. I'm gonna be on my game this week. Best believe that.
Ross, what's up with you, man?
No, man, just chilling. Trying to come back and take this lead. Yeah,
Okay,
trying to take this
let's
lead.
get to the first game. First game at hand: Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. Who y'all got and why?
I got Green Bay. I'm not too fond of the Tennessee Titans quarterback position. I'm not too fond of that. And so I got Green I got Green Bay in the close one.
Okay, what about you, Richie Rich?
I got the Titans, bro.
I'm going with the Titans too, man. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers. Last week was what you call a fluke. He's not supposed to win. He's supposed to suck this whole year. So I'm picking against Aaron Rodgers um, because it's about time the Green Bay Packers put his ass on a pink slip. This dude is highly overrated. So I'm picking the Tennessee Titans to win. All right.
All
So
right.
what about Sunday? Chicago at Atlanta. Richie Rich.
Chicago Sunday and Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I mean, Chicago, man, they've been letting me down lately. I went with them last week. They let me down. You know, I still think, man, they do for a game. They do for a game. They gonna find a way to put together a solid game and be able to win. But I don't know if it's gonna be this one, man. I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Okay. What about you, Ross?
Thank you. Um, yeah, me, I'm going with the Bears. I'm going with the Bears in this one.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Bears, man. I normally don't. I'm not big on the Bears, but this is a game that the Falcons are garbage enough, and I feel like the Bears, they should win this game based on the strength of schedule. They look like they're a little bit better than the Falcons, so I'm going to go with the Bears in this game. Plus, they got the better defense. So I'm going with the Bears. All right, let's get to the next game. Carolina
Uh,
at Baltimore.
Who you got?
I got in this game Baltimore Ravens. I learned my lesson last week to not go against the Ravens, so I'm picking Lamar Jackson to do his thing against the Carolina Panthers. So I'm picking the Ravens, man.
I
Is
got
it
Ravens.
even? Yeah. I mean, is it even
What?
something we should have to think about?
A question.
Yeah. I mean, it's Ravens all day. They got Baker Mayfield coming starting as the starter quarterback. That means that they definitely losing. They
Yeah.
definitely taking that L on Sunday.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's unanimous. Everyone's picking the Bears. I mean the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me block this dude out. I don't know how you can be
Man,
such a
talk about
LeBron
LeBron
James.
in
How can you be
NFL.
such
How
a
many rings would
LeBron
he have?
James fan to the point the way you talking LeBron in football, man? Fuck out of here, man. Like you want to suck LeBron James' dick or some shit, man. That's annoying.
Yeah,
Fans like that, you gotta go, man.
yeah. If I was you, I cut that
Oh,
down because YouTube could pick that. YouTube could pick that up and take the video down.
all right. Appreciate that. That's why I blocked his ass out. But appreciate you with the language and shit.
Oh, I was talking about whoever got that thing going on in the background, the people talking.
Oh yeah, I blocked him out, man.
So the
Okay.
next game is I got Buffalo for the next game.
All right. For the next game, you got Buffalo.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
So
book. Excuse me.
Buffalo for Ross, right?
Yep.
And what about you, Richie Rich?
I also got Buffalo too. That's gonna be Deshaun Watson's first game back. I think he's gonna be a little rusty. Buffalo should
Yeah,
should take advantage.
I'm still sticking with the Bills. The Bills has been cash money for me every week except last week, but I'm sticking with the Bills, man. I'm not going against them because they've won. They've given me a lot of wins, so I'm gonna go with the Bills. So that's unanimous.
All right.
All right. So Richie Rich, we start off with you. This next one, the Commodores versus the Texans. Who you got?
I like the Commanders, man. Them
Okay.
boys, they've been playing competitive. They were able to end the Eagles' undefeated record. Hopefully they stick with Heineke as the quarterback because if they go to Wentz, man, then they trying to kill their momentum.
All right. What about you, Ross?
I got um I think Washington's the better team, but I got Houston. I got Houston for the upset.
Houston. Okay. Interesting. In this gun, I'm gonna go with the Commanders.
All right.
All right. So that's Texans for Tom Ross, Commanders for Richie Rich, and Commanders for me. All right. So for the next game, let's see who we got. We got the Jets versus the Patriots. Shit, I should. Oh my bad. The Eagles versus the Colts. I'm going with the Eagles, man. Better team, better strength and schedule. I just don't see the Eagles losing, and they got Jalen Hurts, so I don't see them losing. So I'm picking the Eagles.
Yeah, I got the Eagles.
Who you got, Richie Rich?
I got the Eagles, man. Them cats ain't playing around. They made a couple moves today. They went after some cats that were some defensive tackles. Now them Dom Kasu. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
guys remember him, but
Yeah,
he
definitely
was a
remember
free
him.
agent. They picked him up to bolster their defensive line to help with the run because I guess what happened to them on Monday night, they were a little worried about it, so they want to strengthen their D line.
Yeah,
So
that
that won't
motherfucker got
happen.
that motherfucker got gassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the Jets versus the New England Patriots. Who you got, Ross?
I got New England.
All right. What about you,
New
Richie
England.
Rich?
They're gonna make dude throw plenty of interceptions.
I got New England too. New England already did them boys up in New York. Now the Jets got to travel to Foxborough, man. They're not winning in Foxborough.
You know what? Let me see something here. I am gonna go with the Jets.
Okay.
I think the Jets have had this kind of up and down type shit going on all season, and this is gonna be their up week. I'm gonna pick them.
Okay.
All right, so let's get to the next game. We got the Los Angeles Rams versus the New Orleans Saints. Who y'all got?
Hold on. Ain't no you he knows?
Huh?
And huh? If you can huh, you can hear, motherfucker. Ain't no you?
Nah, I went with the Eagles. It was
Yeah,
the
you went
Eagles.
last with the Eagles. You was the last nigga
I
to
went last
go.
with the Eagles. No, I went first with the Eagles because I picked the Eagles first. Then you went first. Then it's supposed to be Richie Rich now. Then it's me.
Okay.
I'm keeping tabs, motherfucker.
All right. So who you got, Richie?
Between the Rams and the Saints.
Yeah.
Man, that's gonna be a that's not going that's a tough game. I mean, Stafford is coming back and Cooper Cup is out for a little while because he had some type of ankle surgery. Uh, it's gonna be tough, man. But
Choose wisely.
I'm going with the team that has the better defense. It's gonna be an ugly game. I'm gonna go with the Rams, man.
All right.
Yeah, I got the Rams as well.
I'm going with
I
the
think
Saints.
yeah, man.
I'm going with the Saints. I'm going with the Saints. So we got Rams, Richie Rich, and Tom Ross, and me. I'm going with the Saints. So this is gonna be a week where I get separation. I already see that. There's already 3 games of separation. So I'm gonna. I already
You gonna get
feel the
you
separation.
gonna get separation, or you gonna get left behind.
Yeah,
It's
true
gonna
that.
be separation, dog. Separation.
I'm trying to get double digit separation on y'all.
Right, cause that Saints pick, I don't know about that one.
Oh, the Saints
That's
gonna they're gonna pull through for me. Believe it. All right, so let's go with the. Yeah, this is tough because I never go against the Lions and I never go against the Giants. This shit is tough. Fuck,
it's
this
really
is
not
tough,
that
man.
tough.
It's tough for me
The
because
Giants and the Lions, come on, man.
it's tough for me because the Lions always get me a W. That's why it's tough. The Lions have gotten me W's for 4 weeks straight. Not the Giants.
Okay
The
then.
Giants are giving me a W for 4 weeks
Your
straight.
your pick should be easy then.
Right,
That's why it's tough. That's why it's tough for me because I said last week I can't see myself picking against the Lions because even though they're not a great team, they always give me a W. But they playing against the Giants. Well, I feel like in this scenario, shit, man, this is gonna be tough. But damn man, I like Saquon Barkley, duh. But I'm picking the Lions, man. I can't go against the Lions. The Lions don't fail me. So I'm picking the Lions, man. Fuck it. They don't fail me.
Oh,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
That boy
Appreciate that.
was sealing his fate.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Y'all
I got the
laughing now.
Giants.
Y'all gonna be like, what the fuck? Y'all gonna be like, what the fuck later? Watch.
I got the Giants.
So I take it everybody else got the Giants, right?
Yeah, I said I got the Giants
Yeah.
all day.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. The Lions gonna fail me, man. And they're not gonna fail me. So all right, let's get to the next game. Las Vegas Raiders. Damn, this is a team of both garbage ass teams. The question
Yeah.
is who's less garbage? The Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. Who y'all got? Ross?
Even though I got a good, I'm gonna go with Denver. This actually a tough pick because they both suffer from the same shit kind of. I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna go with Denver though, man.
Okay. What about you, Richie Rich?
I'm going with Denver as well. Their defense is just better. It's all been about their offense. Their offense can't execute when they need to, but the defense is on point.
This is the first time I've done this, but I'm going with the Raiders, man. Um, because I feel like the Broncos, they like between both teams, the Broncos really don't have it together. And Russell Wilson, you could tell he's not happy there, man. We gotta make some. They gotta create an offense that's conducive to his style of play. And since he's older, he still can't play that way. It's kind of like a damn if you do, damned if you don't situation. But I'm picking the Raiders, man, because the Broncos are really hurt. So that's my pick.
All right. Thanks, bro.
All right, so we got Dallas Cowboys versus the Vikings. Richie Rich.
Man, it's gonna be a
That was
tough
tough.
game.
That shit is tough. I ain't gonna lie. First time I said it in a long time, and shit is tough.
It's a tough game, but I tell you now, this is one of those games where Dallas disappointed this week, but they're not going to disappoint next week. People going to expect them to disappoint this game. They're not going to disappoint. They actually going to show up. They're going to make sure Vikings get their second loss. I'm going with Dallas.
Okay. What about you, Ruff?
Oh, I got that.
You got Dallas too?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys only because,
All right, cool. All
like
right.
Richie Rich said, and he hit that point good. They suck one week and then they're good the next week. So they sucked last week. So you expect them to be good this week. And I think the Vikings need to be humbled a little bit. They're too much on their little high horse. So they're gonna get humbled.
Ross
All right.
picked Dallas too.
Yeah, we all picked Dallas.
Yeah, you picked that.
Okay, what about Cincinnati and Pittsburgh? That one
Mm.
is me. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers in that one. Picking the Steelers.
Yeah, you just
I don't
heard me
know
say
Wow.
when
that.
the football
I'm
the
going.
Bengals has ever been good. Yo, who y'all going with?
I'm going with the Steelers.
Okay. What about you, Richie Rich?
I think they're gonna get it.
Yeah, they should get upset.
Who Rich going for?
I don't know. He didn't say. Who you got?
Who Rich going for?
Richie Rich, who you
Yeah,
got? Steelers or the Bengals?
the Bengals. You hear
Okay.
me?
We hear you. Took you a minute to
You
tell
said the
us that.
Bengals. You said the Bengals.
Okay, it took him a minute.
All right.
I think this week he's being
No, that's
very
because
careful.
the thing is breaking up.
Is it breaking up?
Oh yeah, man. That's the thing. Yeah, we got to figure out the script. I think it's because maybe it's the end of the month and we probably getting close down to our usage, and I don't know. But yeah, it's breaking up. But anyway, yeah, he said
It could be that, man.
he said the Bengals.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I said the Bengals.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that shit alone. Bengals down. All right. So let's get to this one. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. We got
Who's it on?
Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying who's going to go first? Me or Richie Rich?
Okay. Oh,
I think the
salute
Chargers.
Who
Warzone
going
Boxing
first?
MMA and Sports. He says salute. He knows everything in the panel. This is what I'm talking about. I gotta watch from the beginning. I'm an avid fantasy player as well. Yeah, you gotta catch this because we break down our picks and then we talk about who you should pick up and who you should get rid of. So lock in, tune in with us, man. Every Thursday, every week, we break this shit down. But go ahead, Richie Rich. Who you got? Chiefs or the Los Angeles Chargers?
Uh, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
I'm
What
going with
about
the
you, Rob?
Chargers for the upset. I'm going Chargers for the upset.
You know, I don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, man. That dude's a game changer. So I'm picking the Chiefs, man.
All right, this is where I take off.
Okay.
This is
And we
what
got we already know the last game. I already know where the route Richie Rich gonna go, so it make it easy for me. We got San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. So who you got, Richie Rich?
Who I got? Hey, y'all bet against the 49ers the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks they have won. They're gonna win again this week.
Okay. So Richie
nah.
Rich
Who was y'all? Who was y'all? I won.
Oh, my bad. You 1 out of the 2 weeks
Yeah,
you bet against them.
yeah. Not this week.
Okay. So yeah, because Ross was 2-0 that last that Sunday night and then Monday night football game. So he gets credit for that. So who you got, Ross? The Niners or the Cardinals?
I got the Niners.
Good. That makes it easier for me. I can't stand the 49ers, so I'm picking against them. I'm picking the Cardinals, man.
All right. Somebody gonna take a massive L come Sunday.
Oh, it ain't gonna be me. You just believe that.
We gonna see.
Well, this is what we call game changer. So, all right, now let's get to the fantasy part. So, Warzone, boxing, MMA, and sports. Tell us who your fantasy football team is, and who you would suggest for us to pick up and drop, and then we'll break that down for you. We got two experts that can break that down for you, and they'll explain who you should keep and why, and who you should drop. But while you tallying all of that up, Ross and Richie Rich, man, who are the players for week 11 that you guys feel that everybody need to pay attention to?
Well, we already know who the top guy is going to be. But the sneakers, I think T. Higgins is going to be a sneaker. Amon Ross A. Brown from Detroit going to be a sneaker.
Mm-hmm.
And Ramondre Stevenson from New England going to be a sneaker.
Okay.
And of course, Damian Brown. Damian Pierce, he'll sneaker damn near every week.
Why you feel they're gonna be a sneaker this week? Those three.
Because most people only focus on just the top players, but it'd be really those players who kind of like mid pack who are going to play up against a team whom they could get some decent numbers against. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm-hmm.
may be a player that you don't plan for that be fucking around and make you lose in the fantasy because you be like it'd be like some random dude, the person on the other team that had like 30 points and shit. You know what I'm saying? But he only supposed to
That's
have
true.
15.
That's true. Well, what about you, Richie Rich? Who's your sneakers for this week 11?
uh, my sneaker players are Amon St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. That running back that's on the Panthers. I think his name is ends in. Hold on. That dude been balling every week. He been putting up consistent yards for the Panthers.
Are you talking about Darnell Mooney?
Nah, not him.
Jonathan
Oh,
Stewart?
I watched the Panthers
not
game,
Jonathan
so I don't
Stewart.
know.
D'Angelo Williams?
D'Angelo Williams been out the league for a minute, man.
That's old niggas.
Yeah. Foreman.
Right,
That's
this
his name.
nigga, right, you even watching
This
football?
man said Dante Foreman.
Yeah, that's an old ass nigga.
Yeah, that old boy been out the league for a minute, man. You funny.
There you go.
Both of these
Dante
got the
Foreman.
lead.
But
Well, that's why we got y'all. Y'all the experts.
This nigga said kind of like Pickens.
along with T. Higgins, I
That's
go
why we got y'all. Y'all the experts.
yeah, along with T. Higgins, like Ross mentioned, I go with Boyd too on the Bengals because with Chase out, Jamar Chase out, you gotta understand, Burrow, man, he's gonna be throwing that ball around, and Boyd's gonna be able to make some plays too. You know, even go with their running back because that dude been balling as of late, man. You need to go with the Bengals running back too.
So, are you gonna go with Dante Foreman, like Warzone Boxing, MMA, and Sports is saying, or Rondelay Moore?
I like Dante Foreman.
All right, there you go, Warzone. Dante Foreman. That's who you should lean towards. All right, so who is the player that everybody needs to can, man? Off top of my head, if you got Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson on your team, you better can them. But who's the guys you guys think they should can for week 11?
Well, you got to drop Kyler Murray because he hurt. If you got, because me personally, I can you until I get information that you're gonna play if you good. So far I'm canning Mark Andrews. He's my guy, but I got him on the can list because he's questionable. And sometimes you could get caught with people that's questionable on the list and they fuck around and be out. So if you're questionable, I automatically take you out until I find out information, put you back in. And same thing for AJ Brown. I'll can him too until I figure out what's gonna happen with him.
Okay. What about you, Richie? Rich, who you canning? Rich, you there?
Oh, my bad. I was on mute.
Who you canning?
For this week?
Yeah.
Honestly, for this week, I would can Stephon Diggs, man, because they're gonna be playing in some cold weather.
Damn. And he don't play good in cold weather?
Nah, it's just they're gonna be playing in some crazy cold weather.
Yeah, but they're playing Buffalo.
Huh?
Yeah, they
playing Buffalo. He playing cold weather.
I know it's gonna be snowing, man. It's gonna be 3 to 6 inches of snow. It's gonna be bad weather. I think it's gonna be a game where them cats have to run the football. So I don't think it's gonna be a game. Yeah.
I should have picked Cleveland. Cause they ain't got no running game. Buffalo ain't got no fucking running game.
It's gonna be a one of those games, man, where it's just snowing all day, man. And you know, you gotta stay away. You gotta stay. They're not gonna really be able to pass the ball like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the big reason why I think Baltimore got a good chance of going deep in the playoffs this year. Because Baltimore built to do both.
Yep.
But they don't have to pass to win the ball. They don't have, you know what I mean? They built to win either way.
Yeah, anytime you're playing in cold weather, you better be able to run the damn ball.
Yeah,
otherwise
that ball be hard as fucking brick when you try to catch that ball that's cold outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even guys trying to get picks, they can't get it because, like you guys said, this shit is hard as hell.
That shit hurt, man. When they throw it up. Some niggas don't realize how hard the ball is when they be throwing. They be throwing the ball, they fucking might. Like, it's a screen pass. Why you throwing it so hard?
Yep. And some quarterbacks they naturally have that gun, that bullet type arm. So sometimes they throwing just a little touch throw, but because they throw hard, a touch throw feel like a bullet.
Yeah, man. That's the thing. That's what separates the great quarterbacks from the legends is having that touch, being able to throw a rocket and being able to throw a soft pass at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That is true. But I think a lot of times the reason why a lot of quarterbacks throw it hard like that, they don't want to get sacked, so they just getting the shit out. So it's coming out hot, hard, and heavy. And most quarterbacks, unfortunately, are game changers, so they're gonna throw that shit hot, hard, and heavy. That's why you be hearing receivers complaining but they don't complain during their years that they're playing because how does it look? You trying to get a big ass contract, but then you saying, well, when I catch the ball, it's so hard for me to catch. They're so ready to cut your ass saying some shit like that. So these guys waiting until they retire to start talking about how hard that damn football was when the quarterback threw it at their ass. But they can't say that shit while they playing, because that's not a good look for them. So he mentioned, can Aaron Jones, his reps is going to be capped this week. So what are you trying to say, Warzone? Are you trying to say his reps are going to be capped this week?
Is he hurt? I know he had a little injury. He had a little ankle injury, but he shares touches with the other running back on the Green Bay Packers. That's Corey Dillon's son. You remember? I don't know if you guys remember Corey Dillon.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
his
that.
that's his
I
son.
remember that. The joke earlier, we're also saying with Cadillac Williams. I remember that football. So yeah, I remember Corey Dillon.
Yeah, see, he said, yeah, Aaron Jones is gonna be his touches are gonna be capped because he sustained that ankle injury, I think a couple weeks ago.
So
So
basically sit him.
I mean, Titans have a good defense, man. Their defense, Vrabel, he has those guys disciplined on defense. They, I think, if Packers want to win this game, Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna have to connect in the air.
We'll see.
That's the only chance they have.
Is he playing on turf or is he playing in the grass? Aaron Rodgers, because that makes a difference for his ass.
They're playing in grass. Aren't they playing at Tennessee?
Okay, so he should have a good game. Should, even though he's been playing like trash, he should have a good game because he plays like trash in turf and he plays good on grass. So then he
No, it's
should
at
have a
Green
good
Bay.
game.
So they're playing in grass.
He should have a good game. As much as I can't stand
Sit
that
them.
dude, he
Yeah,
should
it's
have it.
best to sit them.
So let's talk about his sleepers. He said his sleepers are Christian Watson. Am I saying the name right? Olev, and T. Higgins. What do you guys think about those sleepers?
I didn't really consider um, Christian McCaffrey a sleeper because at this point he's a stud. At this point, like you kind of expect him to, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
do his thing every time he plays. So I didn't consider him. But yeah, I can see why you said that though.
What about you, Richie Rich?
Sleepers. Uh, your best bet is T. Higgins, man. Olev, he's been dropping, man. Like he hasn't been really balling. I don't know if it's because of the quarterback, if it's because of inconsistent quarterback on the New Orleans Saints. That's quarterback situation. With Andy Dalton, he hasn't been playing up to par.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads to Olev not being able to play up to his potential. McCaffrey, he gonna ball out because he knows more of the offense now. They're going to be using him a lot in a lot of plays, whether it's running, passing. That's a guy you want to have, man, because you know he's going to get those all-purpose yards. I'd say go with Christian McCaffrey and T. Higgins. Deshaun Watson, let's see, he's going to be playing in a cold game, and he's going to be rusty. I don't know about him. I wouldn't go with him in his first game. He's going to be rusty, and they're gonna be running the ball. They're gonna be giving the ball to Chubbs, man, a lot. They're just gonna give it to Chubbs, Hunt, and he's just gonna pick his position, pick his place here and there. They're not gonna
So how
try to
y'all
have him do
feel?
too much.
So how y'all feel about them saying that Justin Fields? Now you can speak to this too, Ross. How you feel about them saying Justin Fields with the Chicago Bears is now the most electric runner in football? He's taking the crown from Lamar Jackson. You think that the analysts are far fetched? It's just hate on Lamar Jackson
Well,
for them to say that.
nah, it's just this what they do. Whenever a black man dominates his draft class, because those are your peers, not the people before your year, not the people after your year.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever a black man dominates his draft class, to take the pressure off the white people who are inferior, they start comparing him to other people. They really supposed to be saying Justin Fields is superior to everybody he's drafted with, but now they'll start comparing him to a fucking MVP and comparing the MVP to a nigga who's not on his level. See what I'm saying? They make
Mm-hmm.
they'll give you a damn if you do, damn if you don't before they give you a for sure win against their own people. Truth be told, they're supposed to be saying how Justin Fields is way better than everybody who was drafted with, and they supposed to be talking about how Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold coming off the bench playing behind somebody who's in the arena league. That's what they're supposed to be talking about. But they're compared to black men because they'll do anything to take the focus off white men who are inferior.
Mm-hmm. What do you have to say about that, Richie Rich?
I mean, Justin Fields, you gotta remember he's the new guy coming in. He's starting to show uh, some productivity so far in his game. He was struggling, but now he's showing life, and stuff like that. So he's the new trendy guy coming in. Lamar Jackson, he's just trying to win football games. He's not trying to. You don't have to be all flashy to win football games. Justin Fields doing all this, he's still losing.
Mm-hmm.
But that kid, he has special abilities, man. The last two games, he's he's ran for over 100 plus yards. I think he ran for 140 some yards, and the week before that over 130. So the talent is there, man. The potential is there. He just has to keep getting better as a quarterback. Because his accuracy is still off, and the team, man, they're not developed fully as a team yet. So just like how Ross was pointing out about how you know when they have these African American quarterbacks, they're a little too critical of them. They don't really want to give these guys an opportunity to do something. It's like these guys have to do something right away. But there's always, even if these guys do something, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're always going to be critical of these guys, even if they win at the highest level. We seen that with Pat Mahomes. He got a Super Bowl. Well, he's not full black, but they're still critical of him too, because in some games, Pat Mahomes, he's made bad plays down the stretch where he's thrown a pick, and you could say he's cost them the game. But all these quarterbacks have done that. White quarterbacks, black quarterbacks, it doesn't matter. everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, does something that causes their game, but they're more critical of black quarterbacks.
Okay. Warzone said facts. Y'all going in, man. Y'all breaking this shit down to the T. Okay, so let's talk about week 11 running backs. Who's the guys that they should keep and who's the guys they should drop?
I
I don't
mean,
know about drop, but I'll tell you who they should keep.
Okay.
Joe Mixon,
Okay.
Saquon Barkley
Okay.
for sure, and Austin Eckler for sure.
Okay.
Anybody else is negotiable depending on what defense they finna play against. I think
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey gonna go crazy because Arizona already got no defense like that.
yeah, he gonna go crazy on
You
the
know?
Cardinals. They're gonna be using him all in all types of facets. He's one of those Swiss Army type running backs. So the 49ers are gonna use him.
Okay.
You know, I think you should go with the usual guys. I think you could look at Chubb, man. Chubb is probably gonna have a good game on the Bills, uh, because they're gonna use him. They're playing in bad weather, so he's gonna be used a lot. They're probably gonna give this man 30 carries, and he's gonna do his thing in that game. That dude is a tough runner. He knows how to run, man. He knows how to get in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley, yeah, like Tom Ross mentioned, he's gonna do his thing against the Lions. Lions have one of the worst run defenses.
Okay. So Warzone boxer said Montgomery, Henry, McCaffrey, and Stevenson. Those are his selections. So it's like
You,
everybody's pretty concrete. What you gotta say
a
on that?
sleeper, a sleeper, man, that nobody been really paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Man, ever since this guy, I think he's their most consistent back, even with Ezekiel Elliott being the number one running back. But since Ezekiel Elliott's been down, this dude has been balling, man. I need to go with Pollard. Pollard been balling low key.
Oh yeah,
People haven't been paying attention to that dude, man. But Tony Pollard, that dude he's their most effective running back.
and
That
if you
dude
could
has
get
been balling for real.
my bad, if you could get a chance to pick up King and Drake, from Baltimore, because
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore been having so many running backs go down. He's been
Mm-hmm.
stepping up and scoring multiple touchdowns each game.
Okay. What about wide receivers? Who y'all for week 11? Who's the guys? I mean, and who's the guys that you guys are looking at like people should drop, and who's hot for this week?
Well, we already know about the usual suspects. They're pretty much not going to get dropped. But I tell you, some people pick up Mike Williams. He might
Mhm.
start. Uh, pick and pick up Cortland Sutton.
Okay. What about you, Richy Rich?
For my receivers,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for sleepers, since Cooper Cup is out, I like that dude on the on the Rams. What's his name? mean, you could look at Van Jefferson. I think he's gonna do his thing in that game. He's one of Matt Stafford's other go-to targets. When he's not throwing the ball to Cooper Cup, he's throwing the ball to this dude, Van Jefferson. So that's a dude y'all need to pay attention to. Uh, let's see. Other sleepers that I like. Y'all need to go with Brandon Ayuk on the 49ers. That's a dude that Joe Garoppolo been targeting a lot. He's been catching the ball. Him and Garoppolo got some chemistry. They more use Deebo Samuel to run plays, and Deebo's been in and out because he's been injured. He's been dealing with a hamstring issue the past few weeks. Deebo's the number one receiver, but since he's been in and out of the lineup, Garoppolo's been going more at throwing the ball more at Brandon Ayuk. So I expect a game where Ayuk is going to bring in a touchdown, and he's going to bring in a few catches, decent yardage, 80, 90 yards. He's going to give you. He's going to be a receiver. You could go with a sleeper pick. He's going to be able to get you some points. Devontae Parker on the Patriots. Him and Mac Jones have some good chemistry. Mac Jones could find him. I think he's going to be able to make some plays on the Jets this week. Amon St. Brown, on the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
That dude gonna be able. That dude, he's been consistent. He's only a rookie, and that dude already looking like a veteran. Jared Goff, he got a good rapport with that dude. And that dude always making plays.
Okay. What about quarterbacks? Oh, before we get to quarterbacks, Warzone, boxing, and MMA sports said play Kadarius Tony or sit.
Play him because what's his name got rocked last week. Juju. I forgot how to pronounce his name. Juju's out with that. He's in that concussion protocol. Hopefully that dude is okay because that was a nasty hit he took last week. He's gonna be out for at least another maybe 2 weeks because that was a really bad hit. It was a helmet to helmet hit that he had in that game against Jacksonville. So Kadarius Tony, that dude is gonna get reps. He's gonna Mahomes gonna be looking for him, and he's gonna be able to make plays.
Yeah, we wish him the best too. We don't wish nothing bad on nobody, man. What about you, Ross?
What's the question again?
No, it's not a question as it relates to him, but I'm going back to the wide receiver point. No, the quarterback. Who you guys got? Quarterbacks this week that's going to perform up to par, and the ones they need to sit.
Quarterbacks, a sleeper quarterback. Quarterbacks are pretty much locked in at this point. Like the ones who are going to ball, they're pretty much bad. Everybody dropping them. You know what I'm saying? You got Josh Allen. Nobody's going to sit Josh Allen. No matter how bad he's playing. Mahomes. You got Lamar Jackson. These guys, all the top 10 guys locked in. So because whoever got the top 10 guys, they're not dropping them. So I'll be like, I guess I'll say respect Russell Wilson and expect Russell Wilson or Jimmy G. Russell Wilson or Jimmy G, man, to have a good game out of the people who are not locked in. You know what I mean? Those are the only sleepers. Everybody else, think about it. What I'm saying is Jalen Hurts is not a sleeper. He's been balling. Justin Fields been
Mm-hmm.
balling. Joe Burrow balling. You know what I'm saying? Well, been decent. So it's not like anybody who got Joe Burrow starting, they're not gonna drop him. You know what I mean? That's why I went down the list and was like, you might want to take a look at Russell Wilson or probably Taylor Heineke or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Somebody that's not
Mm-hmm.
so known. Maybe Stafford might have a good game out of nowhere, but all the rest of the top guys, they're locked in, man. They're supposed to have good games.
Yeah,
Okay. What about Boyd? Because someone just asked another question: Boyd or Jamal Williams?
I go with Boyd, man.
Mm.
Jamal Williams, he's the second back because he came off that injury, so they've been working him in as the number two back, and he gets yards here and there, or maybe a touchdown or so. But you got to understand, uh, since Jamar Chase went down, Burrow he's really been dishing that ball out, and Boyd's numbers have been solid along with T Higgins, and that's what Burrow's gonna have to keep doing until they get Jamar Chase back in the lineup. So
Mm-hmm.
Boyd, man, he could be a really good flex for you. Instead,
Okay.
I think he can produce more this week for you than Jamal Williams.
Okay. And what about you, Richie Rich, on quarterbacks? Who's your top and who's your sleepers?
My top or my sleepers. Your top is always gonna be guys like Joe Burrow, uh, the Tom Brady's, those type of dudes that put up big time yards. Uh, Patrick Mahomes, you know, uh, Josh Allen. But I would stay away from Josh Allen. They're gonna be playing in bad weather this week against the Browns. I would go with guys like, this week, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's poised to have a good game. They're gonna be playing in Mexico City. It's a neutral field. It's nice weather over there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he expect for Garoppolo to have a nice game in that game. Kyler Murray coming off the hamstring. That's a game where 49ers could really, run up the score on that team. So Garoppolo is a nice sleeper to pick up in that game. Uh, let's see. Ryan Tannehill. He might have a solid game tonight. He might be a nice little sleeper. He played decent last week. He might, Packers secondary, they're shaky. They're not that great. So Tannehill, he might have a game where he could get a couple touchdowns tonight in the air. It's another game, another sleeper. I know Russell Wilson hasn't been balling, but they playing against the Raiders. Raiders are a bad team. Their defense is one of the worst in NFL. Russell
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, the Denver Broncos are at home. He should be able to put up a decent game against that terrible Raiders defense. A lot of people aren't paying attention to Russell Wilson, but this week, pay attention to him. They're playing against a struggling Raiders team.
Okay. All right. What about defense? Who you guys have fantasy football wise defense? What's the defense to look for this week, week 11, and which one will you can?
I'm looking at the Commanders.
Um, Jets got a good
Who you put that?
defense. Um, look for the Eagles to make some noise.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the Ravens to make some noise. Uh,
Look for the Broncos.
that's it. Oh,
I think Broncos.
oh yeah, because the Raiders been struggling. I guess.
Yeah, Broncos always have these long, low scoring games, man. They don't let teams go wild on them. Their defense keep teams in check.
Okay. All right. Now, I guess two teams that I wanted. Well, four teams. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna ask you guys four teams because this week 11, we 7 weeks out. Do you guys feel that the Miami Dolphins are as advertised, as good as they are, or you think they're gonna have a moment where they're gonna ultimately
Yeah,
fold?
yeah, they're playoff. They're a playoff team. They're a playoff team. So yeah, they're a good advertised. I don't got to the Super Bowl or nothing like that, but
Mm-hmm.
they're a playoff team. Like I don't. It all depends on what's your aspirations for them. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying. But as far as they're doing what they're supposed to do with that type of squad, they're supposed to have one of those. They're supposed to have the record that they have with all that firepower. If they didn't have that record, I would be concerned. They got
Yeah,
two of the very best receivers in the league on the same team. A solid, a fucking solid tight end. Like you know what I mean? Like probably the top seven tight ends. Their defense is a little shaky, but when they play against the right teams, their defense is made for is made to blitz. If you got an offense that can't adapt to the blitz, they got a top five defense too. So yeah, man, they're supposed to. I think divisional round in the playoffs is a good aspiration for them. But they're good enough to beat anybody. But I think a good goalpost is divisional round in the playoffs. Second, you know what I mean? That's a good goalpost for them.
Okay.
That's realistic.
Okay. What about you, Richie Rich?
yeah, man. The Dolphins are where they should be right now. And just think if Tua never, went through that whole concussion situation, they probably would have been they probably only would have had one loss right now, and they would have been uh, first place in the AFC right now. Along with Philly being first place in NFC. They would have been one of the best teams in the NFL. They are playing like one of the best teams. Their offense is on point, man. That trade that they got for the San Francisco 49ers for Jeffrey Wilson Jr., that was a
Mm-hmm.
solid trade. The 49ers really hooked them up because McDaniels, he was an assistant coach on the 49ers, so they hooked that man up. And now they have an established run game. They got that dude and they got Mostert, man. They should be really solid, going into the postseason. So now they truly have a balanced attack. Now they can be really on offense. They can be a unpredictable team because they have a solid running game, and they got those. They got two airing out the ball to those two speedsters out there, and Hill and Waddle, man. And they got Gasecki. They got playmakers all over, man. Uh, the only concern is their defense. They have to that defense. They have ups and downs. They played a solid game against the Browns this past weekend. They didn't let the Browns go wild on them. I was surprised the Browns couldn't get 20 plus points on them. So that's an improvement on from that Dolphins defense. So they got a bye week this week. They got to keep improving because they brought in Chubbs there. That dude's gonna help them out. He's gonna help out their pass rush. Uh, and the secondary, they gotta hold it down, man. They can't keep giving up big plays through the pass, and they'll be all right. I could see them going to the second round of the playoffs. If they have to go through a wild card,
Mm-hmm.
I could see them getting through the first round and possibly losing in the second round, or maybe coming out and going all the way to the AFC Championship. I don't know if they would get to the Super Bowl, but that would definitely show that Miami's heading in the right direction if they go deep this year.
Okay. How do y'all feel about the Cowboys? Same question as it relates to the Dolphins.
You want me to go
Cowboys.
first?
Yeah, go. Ross can go first. Y'all been having that good order with Ross, and then you on the back end. So go ahead, let Ross go.
Cow- Cowboys are Cowboys should be getting to the NFC Championship because they got the firepower. They actually got a better team than what's the name do overall. They actually got a better team than the Dolphins because they got firepower on the offense and they got a good defense. But here's the problem with Cowboys. Cowboys have a problem with meeting expectations. They should get to the AFC Championship, but I don't got them getting past the divisional round. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a team that should be Super Bowl bound. Whenever you got an offense with all that firepower and you got a defense that don't take shit from nobody really, that's supposed to be you know what I'm saying to get you there. But at the same time, it's
Mhm.
like are they really gonna get past the Eagles? You know what I'm saying? Can we
Yeah.
really say that? Because and it's not because they got the talent, it's because lately they've been folding under pressure. It's kind of like Green Bay.
Hmm.
We know no matter what Green Bay do, we know they're not. We know they're going to fold sometime in the playoffs because Aaron Rodgers can't deal with pressure.
Hmm.
He always folds.
Facts. Facts. It's a great point. Richie Rich, what about you? Same.
Yeah, man, I totally agree, man. It's their expectations that it's like a huge weight on that team to where when they have to play those games to where they have to, get over the hump, they can't. Dak Prescott, they keep putting him on the tier of some of those elite quarterbacks, but he hasn't really shown up yet. He's talented, but he don't make the plays in those big games. You know, that's what's like holding him back. Those games that they're always like this past game. I mean, I know it's just a regular season game, but he's also done that in the postseason where the expectations are put on him, but he doesn't show up. He doesn't step up to the plate. I think that's what's uh, affecting that team of getting over the hump. Dak Prescott, he has to have more confidence in himself in those big games, and he has to be able not he don't force anything. Just play to your strengths, man. That's all you got to do. They got a solid running game, man. That dude, Tony Pollard, that dude is a really good running back. He should. Dak Prescott should be giving that guy the ball a lot more and taking pressure off to take a little pressure off himself. So that dude can
Hmm.
make plays. He's one of those running backs that can not only run, but he could also catch out of the backfield and create plays too. You know, uh, their receiving core, I think, is kind of thin, man, because it's CeeDee Lamb and then Gallup. Gallup, that dude is always getting hurt, but those other guys on that receiving core don't really produce like that. So now I see why they want to go. They want to sign Odell Beckham on that team because that's where they're lacking truly. Their receiving core. If you've been paying attention to them, these past few weeks, their wide receiver core is thin. They only really got CD making plays out there, and
So
the
it's
other
safe to
guys.
say if they get Odell Beckham and Dak Prescott is still doing the same shit, then he might end up getting the pink slip at that point, right?
Well, I mean, he might, but we gotta look. Jerry Jones, he's a loyal dude, man. You gotta when he normally gives a guy a contract like that, he ride he sticks with that player until the wheels fall off. So that's something that we gotta see. I'm not sure because Jerry Jones is the guy that's running the helm at the helm. So if If it was another owner, Dak Prescott would be probably given the pink slip. But Jerry Jones, I don't know, not with him, because
Jerry Jones
he's
is like
shown.
Jerry Jones is like Donald Trump. As long as they got a heartbeat, they're gonna always be in control. They got to be dead for them to not be in control. But as long as they got a heartbeat and they ticking and they can get up and move, and they don't have no um, autoimmune disease, kind of like the one that Bruce Willis has now. That's why Bruce Willis cannot do movies anymore. It's called aspharia, where it messes with your speech. It causes you to have like a speech impediment, and it makes you forget. So that's why he can't act because he can't remember lines and shit. So that's why you're not gonna see Bruce Willis in movies no
That
more.
that dude, and he pushing like 80 years old, man. Why would he want to still do movies?
Well, he's still doing movies,
I don't
but
know
he
about
can't
that,
do it.
bro.
He
That's
can't do
crazy.
it. He can't do it no more because of that disease, and that's why he's been out of the spotlight. But unless Jerry Jones or Donald Trump ends up having that kind of disease, them dudes are always gonna be in front of the camera, man. They gotta be. Those guys have to be on the post, the thumb and the needle of the damn situation. That's the way that they're wired. Some people are wired that way, and you got to take them out for them to not be like that. But as long as they're breathing, they're gonna always have their post, thumb, and needle on the situation. But Jerry Jones has done that with all white quarterbacks. Dak Prescott's career is not over yet. So I hear what you're saying with the loyalty part, but I have to see Jerry Jones do this through the fruition of Dak Prescott's career for me to give him that nod. What you're talking about with that loyalty. I know that loyalty's been with the white quarterbacks. We've seen him do that with Romo, and we've seen him do that with Aikman, but it's yet to be fully through Dak Prescott. Chris Prescott's career has to go through full fruition for me to give him the nod on that.
Mm.
Because when push comes to shove, I like Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones is loyal. But when push comes to shove, I've seen in the past, and it's been in other positions where things were a little bit controversial. He got rid of players that look like me, you, and Ross, like that. But guys that look like him, when things were controversial, he kind of let it draw out a little longer. So I'm just saying.
You
I'm
talking
just
about
saying.
Quincy Jones?
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter. I got his
Yeah,
name
Quincy
wrong.
Carter. He did that with Quincy Carter. The list goes on, man. He did that with Terrell Owens because Terrell Owens was, let's keep it a buck. Terrell Owens Terrell Owens is one of your favorite wide receivers, so I know you could talk about that. But Terrell Owens actually fit in that Dallas Cowboys offensive scheme. It was just Tony Romo that was fucking shit up, but Terrell Owens was balling. Terrell Owens is one of the few people on the planet, and I think you and Ross can agree on this. Is Terrell Owens is one of most people on the planet that run their mouth like Terrell Owens. They don't have nothing to show for it. Terrell Owens is one of those rare people. I'll say that I'm like that too, and I think you both can attest to that. People that talk shit but can back it up. He's one of the rare people on the planet that can talk shit, but he can back that shit up, and he always has been able to talk shit and back it up at the same time. And that's what I always liked about Terrell Owens. Say what you want about him, hate on him all you want. That motherfucker is annoying. He talks his ass off, but he always gives you the yards. He always shows you the numbers. And that's why he's one of the greatest wide receivers ever. And I felt like in that system, if you really dissect it, he wasn't a cancer like they were trying to make him out to be. I remember when Skip Bayless for years was trying to call him a cancer. He was kind of giving him that cancer in the locker room environment, trying to make him like he was a LeBron. No, it was Terrell Owens was challenging everybody to raise up to their level. And with Terrell Owens, there's no discrimination. He did that shit with Donovan McNabb when Donovan McNabb was nutting up in crunch time situations too. With Terrell Owens is all about lifting your play up because Terrell Owens has already been on Super Bowl teams. He's been on teams with Steve Young. He's been on teams with Joe Montana. So he knows what it's like to fucking win. And that year that Philadelphia went to the Super Bowl and Terrell Owens balled his ass off, there was no reason why the Eagles shouldn't have won the Super Bowl that year. I'm still scratching my head. And the only reason why is because it wasn't T.O. T.O. balled his ass out. It was Donovan McNabb nutting up in those crunch moments, man. And T.O. had every right to say that shit. And I think the thing with T.O. is T.O. was always that guy that he told the truth, but he told it at a time that nobody wanted to hear it. So I saw the way that Jerry Jones treated him, and I didn't think that was fair. And I'm just saying. And people say T.O. was a problem. No, he wasn't a problem. People cannot stand someone that's honest. This is what they can't stand. He was an honest individual. He was not a problem. He wasn't getting in the way of guys succeeding. He wasn't getting in the way of this. T.O. was challenging the system. He was challenging Tony Romo. Tony Romo kept nutting up in the playoffs. Why are you not talking about that war zone boxing? Tony Romo was damn near a punchline when it came to the playoffs. This guy always made gaffes after gaffes after gaffes. And if you want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys at their best year was the year when they were siphoning off of Tony Romo and going into Dak Prescott. If you look at their numbers, you look at their players, you look at their roster, they should have won the Super Bowl that year. There was no reason why they shouldn't have won the fucking Super Bowl. I'm just saying. So I say all of that to say that Jerry Jones is more loyal than other NFL owners. But when push comes to shove, this stuff that Ross is always talking about, where you see the disappropriation with black players, Jerry Jones still do that shit too. And I'm glad you brought up the Quincy Carter scenario, because they did not show Quincy Carter the same leeway that they have shown Tony Romo, and Tony Romo has not gone past, I don't think, a second round in the fucking playoffs. So that's all I gotta say with that. Let's get to the next team, Minnesota Vikings. How y'all feel about the Minnesota Vikings? With you, Ross, first.
I'm not convinced.
Ross,
I'm not convinced. I'm not sold on
Minnesota
them.
Vikings basically the same thing as like because these are the four teams I'm talking about, like top teams. What you think their forecast is going to be from week 11 going into week 18? Oh, you don't sound like a TO fan. If you was a TO fan, you'd be sounding like me. You're not sounding like me, so you're not a TO fan.
I'm not.
We already showed the difference between me and you. You are not a TO fan. A TO fan ride with TO. Anyways, what is your take on the Minnesota Vikings, dog? How do you
Uh,
feel like they're going to be successful, a successful playoff team? You think they're going to nut up in the playoffs? Like, what's your take on them?
well, winning the playoffs is no easy feat. You know what I'm saying? It's a one kill thing. You know what I'm saying? But they should definitely get there. They definitely coming out of the NFC North as the top seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I'm not. Are they going to the Super Bowl? I doubt it. But they got decent. They got okay defense. They got a running game. They got receivers out the wazoo. So
Mm-hmm.
you never know. I'm not. I don't know, man. Football is a funny thing. You come in football as a wild card and go always to the Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to really project like who's going to do what based off of what they're doing in the regular season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
So
don't know, man.
basically, what y'all saying, the temperature that I'm getting, because I got the one more team that I'm gonna mention, but the temperature I'm getting from you guys is the teams that have the best records right now is just fluff. You guys were waiting to see how things are
Not
gonna
really
change
fluff,
with
but
the
you're
playoffs.
asking, not fluff. Their record is their record. You're asking what they're going to do in the playoffs. That's based off that
Mm-hmm.
record. When it really has one don't have anything to do with the other. You
well,
know what
I
I'm saying?
mean,
Gotcha.
the Vikings, their crutch is is Kirk Cousins and that defense, man. That's
Mm-hmm.
their crutch in my eyes, because
Well,
the way they've been winning games, they've been winning games by a very close margin, and and they're getting those opportunities to go in their favor. Not to not give credit to their team. They've been stepping up and making plays, but I feel that can catch up to them in the playoffs, to where they won't be able to make that play. I mean, or it could work in their favor, but Kirk Cousins, he's been one of those quarterbacks, man. You know, you if a defense could get to him, could sack him a few times,
Mm-hmm.
he'll be flustered the whole game, making mistakes,
Yep.
throwing interceptions. You know, that's how you you know really affect the quarterback like that. And their defense, they give up a lot. You know, they allow teams to put up some numbers on them. You know, through the air. Their run defense is decent, but their passing defense is terrible. Their secondary is horrendous. So
So given Stephon Diggs' performances with the Bills, do you think it was a good idea for the Vikings to get rid of him, or for him to leave the Vikings? Do you think he should
I
have just
mean,
stayed on the Vikings? They should have paid him.
I don't. I think it was a good decision for him to leave because the coach at that time,
Mm-hmm.
he was like one of those old school coaches, and him and Stephon Diggs were bumping head to head. It was a good decision for Stephon Diggs to leave that situation because
Okay.
you don't want to be in an environment where it's toxic.
And
You
you're not
know,
gonna thrive.
you're not gonna thrive. I remember when he was on that dude was mad at everybody, man. So
Mm-hmm.
you could tell he wasn't happy there. You know, in his last few seasons. So it was good that he got out of there. You could see he's happy in Buffalo
Yeah, he's
and
an
he's
electric.
thriving.
He's an electric receiver. So you know. What about you, Ross?
I mean, there's nothing to disagree with there.
Okay.
There's nothing, there's nothing he left. He playing with a better quarterback now. Uh, with a team that has a better defense, which means they get more opportunities to score. Um, yeah, I don't see that. I don't see where you can go wrong. You know what I'm saying? You're number one
Okay.
offense. You're number one receiver on a pass happy offense. How good? How much better can you have it?
That's true. So I guess the last one is the Eagles. So Ross, I'm gonna let you start off with that one. How do you see the Eagles? I think out of all four teams, the Eagles are the strongest to me. Even though I'm a Dolphins fan, I just like to be honest with the temperature. I think the Eagles are the strongest out of all of them. But I want your take. How do you feel about the Eagles this year and their chances?
The Eagles are the strongest in the NFC. They're the strongest in the NFC, but at the same time, they're the youngest. That basically their nucleus has been together the least amount of time. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So um, we'll see. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
That's a great point.
I feel if they could get past Dallas in the playoffs, if they can win their first game because they're probably gonna have like home field advantage. They keep it up. If they can win their
Mm-hmm.
first game, they can get to the Super Bowl. But I'm not sure if they can win it if they have to play against a team who fight their fire with fire. They got to play against a team like the Ravens in the Super Bowl. They might lose because the Ravens have the ability to keep your offense off the field a whole quarter and score. You know what I'm saying? And they got
Mm-hmm.
a defense, so you can't really go 3-and-out on the Ravens. You got to score some type of points. We play against them because these niggas gonna make you go 3-and-out, come down and score, but hold the ball for like 8 minutes. And then
Facts.
you come back out. Let's say you only score a field goal. Then they hold the ball for 8 more minutes more and score again. You know what I mean? So like if you don't have like if you can't score quickly on defense, like the Chiefs or somebody, it's gonna be hard for you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but to me it's early right now to really be. It's early right now. I see those guys getting to the playoffs though. All these teams you're saying, all these teams you brought up, if they don't get to the playoffs, they failed. Put it this way. They should get to the playoffs. They should
Yep.
win at least one game. But if they don't get to the playoffs, if they don't win at least one game, then yeah, they failed
Mm-hmm.
because of how good they're doing right now.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree. What about you, Richie Rich?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Tom Ross's points. on the Eagles, they're a strong team. You know, they have a strong running game. They have a quarterback, you know, who's poised. You know, although he's young, he looks mature for his youth in the league as a quarterback. He doesn't try to force things. He tries to make the smart play, the right play, as much as possible. You know, and that makes them tough to beat because you have a quarterback. Although he's young, you know he's not gonna try to force something that's not there.
Yep. Yep.
You know, and their defense is solid. You know, they've been playing phenomenal for pretty much the whole season, causing turnovers. You know, not giving up much, but you know they've also had a very easy schedule. They haven't really played that many tough teams when you look at their schedule. But you know that can you know that sometimes you need to have a schedule like that. You know, but I could see them going all the way, or I could see them losing. I could see them getting the home court throughout the whole thing, and they lose because of their inexperience. Because
Mm-hmm.
none of those guys have experience going deep. You probably have maybe. I don't think anybody is on that team from the Super Bowl team that won it in 2018. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a different team, different coaches, different players from that 2018 team. Uh, so these guys, they have to show, you know, that they can get back over there and win it. You know that it's their inexperience, their youth. That could be their crutch. You know, they got
Mm-hmm.
AJ Brown, they got Devontae Smith, they got the talent. They could definitely get there. They are that loss on Monday night exposed some things about them. You know, but like I said, you know, it's gonna take the right team to beat them because that's a team you could see it. They play disciplined football. You know, if you're gonna beat that team, you got to bring it. You know that I give that to them. That's a team. They play hard football, and that's a team. They don't make many mistakes. Seeing how they played on Monday, that was rare
Mm-hmm.
because for so far up to this point, they haven't been playing like that. So that game exposed some things, but I know that team is gonna try to clean up those things.
Yeah. And I just want to make one more point on Jerry Jones. I'm glad you guys said that because we're pretty much done with everything that we talked about. But I just wanted to say the reason why Jerry Jones is not as what people are saying that he is because it's not just Terrell Owens, it's the way he handled Des Bryant too. I watched how when the going got tough and the pressure mounted, he kind of folded a little bit when it came to those guys. And when I saw with Tony Romo, he just even with Tony Romo no longer being a guy who could even throw the ball 10 yards. He let this guy kind of just ride the wave all the way
No
until
pressure.
he transitioned to Dak Prescott. It was kind of crazy the way he did that. It wasn't like, okay, I need you off this team. He just rolled the wave with him. But with Des Bryant and Terrell Owens, when there was polarization, it wasn't the same energy. He didn't keep that same energy with them. So this goes back to what Ross is talking about again with the disappropriation with black players. So I want to put that out there because it needs to be put out there so it's fair across the board. Did he give them more leeway than other quote unquote white owners? Yeah, you could say that. But this is not a moral victory, or this is not a which white owner is holding out longer type of deal. It's did he fold ultimately, and he did. He did fold when it came to those guys. When the pressure came out, fans was like, "You need to get rid of those guys," and this and that, and these guys are no longer part of the team because what they were outspoken. Anytime you deal with NFL players, and I noticed this, um, Colin Kaepernick had to deal with this. Des Bryant dealt with it. Terrell Owens dealt with it because, believe it or not, Terrell Owens advocated for wide receivers, man, and that's why the NFL got him out the league. They got him out the league because he was saying that wide receivers need to get more money than what they're getting because wide receivers make quarterbacks look good, and they got him out the league for saying that. All those extra yards we catch, yards after the catch. He was trying to get yards after the catch to be something that was officialized. They got him out of the league. Even when this dude was quote unquote, they tried to say he was over the hill, but he was still running damn near 4.3, 4.2 for a guy that was damn near in his late 30s, still could catch balls, still could get 1,000 yards reception for a year, could still do those things. They got him out of the NFL. Now, Ocho Cinco was a bit, on the extreme side, but Ocho Cinco balled too. What they did was they tried to do away with the whole celebratory wide receivers. They tried to do away with celebration, and they knew the two guys that stapled celebration, that took celebration to the next level, was Terrell Owens and Ocho Cinco. This is why the NFL did that. This is why Roger Goodell and them, they went on this whole good old boy thing to push those types of NFL players out the league because they no longer want a celebration, and NFL suffer for that. Guys no longer can have that moment where they could celebrate when they get a touchdown, or the theatrics and all of that. The NFL has suffered for that shit, man. They made those guys suffer more than anybody else. So I just have seen the double standards, and that's what I'm speaking against. The double standards that I saw happen to those two guys, and why their careers were shortened sooner than it was supposed to. Now, did Ocho Cinco towards like the end of his career have some down years? Yes, he did. There's no denying that. But I'm talking about the years that he should have still been playing. He was still prolific, and then they found a way to say, well, we're going to trade you, and then we're going to trade you, and then we're going to trade you again. That's ridiculous. That's nonsense. That's all I'm saying. When a guy like Terrell Owens is one of the NFL's greatest wide receivers, can catch the football like nobody's business, is a wide receiver that can do everything, can get you the perfect yards, can get you the first and 10 yards, can basically go in between coverage because he has the body and the frame and the size, and can go deep. Come on, man. Y'all playing games, man.
They got rid of those guys because you're not understanding. They would have kept the league. They would have kept the league back from what the league was trying to do. The league was trying to make white quarterbacks be perceived as the best players and to garner the most attention.
Yep.
So why do you think they're not letting Lamar? They don't want Lamar Jackson. Everyone else had no problem getting the deal. Typically, you're the next man up. When it's time for your deal, whatever the price is, that's the highest. You get like a couple million more than that price.
Yep.
But with Lamar Jackson, because it's not even being a black man; it's the type of black man you are. Lamar Jackson, no. Why? Because it's not just being a quarterback that they want. They want a certain quarterback. If they can't have a white quarterback at the top, they want one who assimilates to white standards as much as possible.
Facts.
So now take this back to Terrell Owens and these guys, right? These guys, their light shines so bright. Not only did they not assimilate, but it's pretty much you forgot who the quarterback was.
Exactly.
And since majority of the quarterbacks at that time were white, they rather just take them out the league because let's be honest, the inferior race is always the most insecure race. So they'll always have a problem with anyone who's good and knows they're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you gotta act like you don't know you that good, or you gotta be super humble and you gotta act like a slave and always keep your head down just to make white people feel good.
Yeah, and that's why they came with the whole franchise tag bullshit, because they knew guys were just so, like you guys mentioned Von Miller. Von Miller, there's no reason why Von Miller should still not be on the Denver Broncos. Him and the Denver Broncos fit very well together. The only reason why he's no longer there is because They try to get funny with him with the money. Anytime you try to get funny with a guy with money, the guy's gonna leave. And you know what's crazy? In basketball players, if I'm keeping it a buck, the NBA players have it way better than the NFL players. And I sit here and listen to these basketball players complain about shit that really the NFL. Oh shit. Okay. All right. No, we just had an earthquake, so okay. Yeah, the house is shaking right now. Okay. All right. If I felt that shit, that Richter scale must be like 5 or 6. Anyways, yeah, back to what we were saying. Yeah, that I had to pause for a second because I had to see how ecstatic this thing is because
Right.
we always have earthquakes and shit here.
Right. How
But
fierce
anyway,
it was.
yeah, I think it was probably like a 6 because the house kind of went like back and forth a little bit. Um, so it made me pause for a second. I just wanted to see how long it was gonna last. But yeah, the thing is when you think of these guys, right? Terrell Owens, they basically kicked him out of the league for wanting more money, like you just said, because he was prolific. This is why I was saying. Remember, you guys remember when I was talking about LaDainian Tomlinson and Phillip Rivers? They did the same thing to LaDainian Tomlinson, and it was the same thing. They showed you they valued the quarterback position over the running back position, when in actuality, guys like LaDainian Tomlinson was more impactful to the team than Phillip Rivers was because of everything that he was supposed to. This is why football, to me, outside of Lamar Jackson, who is just what he is, a freak of nature, football is a very crazy sport in the sense that they're basically saying the quarterback is the guy and then everybody else is second tier. And that's crazy to me because when you say that, the message that you're sending is that everybody else on the team, even though it takes damn near all of those guys and then some to win a Super Bowl, are lesser than. And then you take away from their value. And that's why you see the running back position became dime a dozen. Why you think I'm so rooting for Quan Barkley to be the player that he is? Because I know with his evolution, because he's doing it very quietly, and I like the way he's doing it. He's not doing it rah rah. And same thing with Lamar Jackson, not doing it rah rah, just doing it quietly through their play. Their play is like unlimited pressure, is forcing you to have to talk about them, even though you don't want to talk about them. I see these announcers, man, on Sundays. I watch them. They cringe talking about Quan Barkley. They cringe talking about Lamar Jackson, but they have no choice because those guys are just so good. And that's what I want. I want the evolution of those guys to continue to produce so that it can get to the point to where now the NFL has to re-ingratiate the running back position to what it's supposed to be, because college football has it right. And that's why you see college football has been able to monetize. They monetize off of running, because in college football, it could be a national championship game. What you see they doing in college football, they running the ball down your damn throat because they understand that the most important position is the running back position. They know that. In football, if you know football, you know this. The most important position has never been the quarterback position. The most important position has always been the running back position. Why? Because the running back has to do the most. He gets the carries, he gets the touches, he gets the abuse, and he gets the yards. And that's on the offensive side. And defense, on the defensive side, any position on defense is damn near the most important too. But if we're like saying, okay, who's the most important defense, you would say linebacker, because the linebacker's job, they usually like the captain of the defense because they gotta focus on they kind of are like what you would say third tier DBs when the safeties and the cornerbacks break down, and then they gotta focus on whatever the D line don't catch up on. So to me, those positions need to get respect put right back on them to what they truly deserve to be, because they're the ones doing the most. They're the ones beating their bodies up the most. They're the ones that's doing more of the workhorse. But if you leave it to how they explain quarterback, man, quarterbacks are as close as you could get to kickers and punters in terms of damage. and in terms of taking less hit and touches. They don't really absorb hits like that. Only person who takes less the hit than a quarterback is a kicker or punter, because they ask only on the field to kick or punt, and sometimes they can do both, so they kick and punt. But that's the only time they're on the field. Quarterbacks obviously are on the field longer than them, but outside of the fact that a quarterback has an old line and all of that, and they're being protected, let's be honest. Outside of what Lamar Jackson does, these quarterbacks are not really doing much like that to be in the talks the way that they're in the talks. So my thing is, I feel like it's disrespectful to not acknowledge these positions and uplift them up the way they were supposed to. And that's why you saw they did that. They went away. And the person who's to blame for that is Roger Goodell. That's why I don't want Roger Goodell as the commissioner no more, man. I think they need to bring in a commissioner like the way they had it with Paul, what was his name? Talibu. Am I saying his name right? That guy was more of a free flow thinker. They need to bring a commissioner like that back, because you brought in Roger Goodell to quote unquote what, discipline people. How did that go? Like, they need to bring back a commissioner that's more in free thinking, free thought, that kind of just let shit be, so that football could return back to what it was, man. Because this sport right now is suffering. It ain't the same product that it used to be, because you're not acknowledging the other positions for what they truly deserve to be on the field. And that's my take on it, man. That's all I got to say with that.
All right, man. This has been another great live stream, man.
It sure has. So we got our picks in. We got everything established. We're gonna see how it pans out. And I'll see you guys on Sunday, man. Y'all take care.
Yeah, take care.
Peace.
All
Peace.
right. Peace.